As a guest on the Full Send podcast, Ice Cube was asked why Chris Tucker didn't return for next Friday. During the interview, Cube revealed the reason why Tucker declined to appear in the sequel and said it was due to religious reasons. Now, as much as everyone loved the character Smokey, Ice Cube said he's glad he wasn't in next Friday because he thinks Mike Epps is funnier than Chris Tucker as a pure comic. Today we have our comedy hype analysts Danielle Miller, Capone, and Pierre calling in to give their thoughts and reactions. But first, let's take a look at this clip.
I'm sure you've talked about this. I just don't know. I'm curious. But was Chris Tucker not talked about being in next Friday? Because I know it was Mike Epps, but
we wanted him. You know, he turned it down.
Really?
Yeah, he turned it down. Yeah, we wanted to pay him $12 million to do that movie. He said it was for religious reasons. He didn't want to cuss and he didn't want to smoke weed on camera. I mean, but I'm glad he didn't do it because we wouldn't have Mike.
Yeah.
You know, Mike, to me is funnier, just as a pure comic.
Now, Pierre, it seems like this went under the radar because this was actually an older interview and I haven't seen any, too many outlets talking about it. So let me come to you first. After seeing this clip, what's your reaction to hearing Ice Cube say he thinks that Mike Epps is funnier than Chris Tucker?
Well, when somebody turns down your franchise, then you pick someone else, then of course the other person is going to be the person you like more, it seems like. Let's be real. Chris Tucker made that role iconic. I mean, Friday wouldn't have been Friday without Chris Tucker. Let's just be honest with it. It'd been a cool little movie. It'd have been How to Be a Player too. Okay, just a joke. But let's be honest. Yeah, Chris did what he did with it, and got it to be able to be seen, more and more times. Became such a huge franchise that they made a whole bunch of parts. Mike Epps, when he stepped into it, he had big shoes to fill. A lot of people were trying to say, hey, what you gonna do with this Chris Tucker part? And I think he nailed it in the way he wanted to nail it. I auditioned for it. I got down to the final cut, of it, and Mike got past me. And I look at the role. When I saw the role, I said, hey, Mike deserved it. I wasn't mad about me not getting in. I said, hey, Mike deserved that role. He did a hell of a job. But if you're gonna put both of them performances on, against each other, you got to give it you got to give Chris Tucker the push because.
Hold on, wait, don't, hold on. Hold that thought. Pierre, you always jumping ahead. I want to know that, but let me go around the room first. It's all right. You don't have your scarf on today, so you just jumping in. Capone, let me come to you. Pierre trying to jump ahead. Capone, I don't know. He ain't got a scarf on. I guess he just acting up. But let me get your reaction. As I mentioned, this is actually an older interview. So to hear from Ice Cube saying that he thinks Chris Tucker is funnier. What are your thoughts? Mike Epps is funnier than Chris Tucker. What are your thoughts?
I got a lot of respect for Ice Cube, and that's his opinion. I can't say that his opinion is wrong or right, but I know that there was some frustration seemed to be when he answered, for the simple fact that you build the franchise around somebody, and like Pierre said, Chris Tucker, if it wasn't for him, that movie would not be the movie that it is. And, for whatever reason, Chris Tucker didn't decide to go with the $12 million. Kudos to him because, a lot of people would look at him as being crazy and all that, but you have your reasons.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I think you said that perfect. Danielle, let me bring you in. Hearing from Ice Cube saying that, he thinks that Mike Epps is funnier than Chris Tucker. What are your thoughts here?
I have to say, I love Ice Cube. I respect him and everything that he does. I love Mike Epps. I love Chris Tucker. But I think Ice is in my personal opinion, he's wildin'. The role of Smokey was iconic. It was, we all remember Friday. The first thing when we think about Friday is Smokey. We quote lines from Smokey. So, and when it comes to pure comedy, I'm sorry, but to me, Chris Tucker has it. I still remember Chris Tucker's Michael Jackson pimp joke, even his latest stand-up comedy special that he did, it was funny. I laughed. So I think Ice is a little bit upset about Chris turning down that role, and that's what's fueling this response. That's my opinion.
Yeah, now you pretty much already gave your answer to it. So Pierre, I'm going to come to you because you were the one that initially jumped the gun. Let me ask, so when we're talking about the Friday franchise, right, as I think everybody has mentioned, you can't take anything away from both characters. So I was a little surprised to hear Ice Cube, say this. But let me ask, and I think you're already leading into it. When it comes to, the Friday franchise, between the role that Chris Tucker played and Mike Epps, which role do you think is more iconic, or which one would you choose, between the two? What are your thoughts there?
Well, let me say this too about what Mike Epps did. You have to give him props for doing what he did to make it continue. We got another Friday after that. And to say a pure comic, I understand what Ice Cube is saying. It kind of reminds me of Richard Pryor and Eddie Murphy. Richard Pryor being Mike Epps, Eddie Murphy being Chris Tucker. Mike Epps and Eddie and Richard Pryor are funny all the time. They bring it into a certain situation. They can be at your barbecue and be funny. They can be, you can interview them and they're funny. Chris Tucker does it. Chris Tucker performs funny. When he performs, when he's not doing on camera doing it, he's a different person. He's not that kind of person. You know what I'm saying? He's a little more subdued. So his comedy comes when it's needed to be put on stage. Mike Epps is funny 24/7. If you hang around Mike Epps, you'll see what it is. So I think he might be leading to that more, to say, hey, he's just a pure funny comic all the time. That might be what he's saying. But between the two roles, come on, man. It's unfortunate we're comparing, but if you got to compare it, I'm gonna go with Smokey's character, because it became something like you said, like Danielle said, we what do you call it, reciting lines from it, and it was the launching pad of somebody's career that became humongous. Chris Tucker became huge, $25 million man. So you tell me. I mean, you put the two together, whatever. But Mike Epps is no slouch now. Let's be real. Mike Epps is no slouch in this stuff. He's done dramatic performances that have been fantastic, and comical performances. So he's a beast, when it comes to being an actor. So.
Yeah, great breakdown. I love that analogy that you gave. I think that was such a phenomenal breakdown. So thank you for that, Pierre. Capone, let me bring you in. I've pretty much heard from Danielle. Pierre was trying to jump the gun a little earlier, but let me ask you same question when we're talking about the Friday franchise and we're looking at the two characters that Chris Tucker played and Mike Epps played. Who would you choose? Who do you think is the most iconic role in the Friday franchise?
I resent the fact that Ice Cube even made that statement. The mere fact of there were two separate parts. Smokey was his friend and Mike Epps was his cousin. So he did great in transitioning the characters to come into, because even though we missed Smokey, we still got the introduction of what him and Mike Epps had did together. And I didn't think it was very necessary to say he was a better comedian and give us that type of mind frame to even think that way. They both did very, very good jobs. I mean, if you look at that, the smallest part of the movie for any Friday franchise, any one of them, was Cat Williams, the most memorable character out of all of them. So you can't compare that. Come on. It's the truth, Pierre.
Come on. Over Smokey?
That's the point.
Over Smokey?
When he didn't have a bigger part than Smokey. He had a very small part.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, everybody's thought I'm a boy, Damon, I'm a boy, and all of that.
Yeah.
You can't. Yeah, it's he did a great job, and look where Cat is at now.
Man.
Oh yeah, Cat did do a great job. Now I ain't gonna say that.
Absolutely. And honestly, like that, the entire franchise, I think everybody in that, it just seems like everybody in that franchise held their ground, held their own. I can recite a lot of things from a lot of characters in that Friday franchise. So they did a great job casting that from top to bottom.